So this is chapter 18. Diti vows to kill King Indra. We are supposed to read the introduction also. This chapter gives the history of Diti, the wife of Kashyapa, and how she followed a vow to have a son who would kill Indra. It is also described how Indra attempted to foil her plan by cutting to pieces the son within her womb. In relation to Dwashta and his descendants, there is a description of the dynasty of the Adityas, the sons of Aditi and other demigods. Prishni, the wife of Aditi's fifth son named Savita, had three daughters, Savitri, Vihati and Trayi, and very exalted sons named Agnihotra, Pashu, Soma, Chaturmasya and the five Mayavyas. Siddhi, the wife of Bhaga, had three sons named Mahima, Vibhu and Prabhu, and she also had a daughter whose name was Ashi, Dhata, and had four wives, Kuhu, Sinivali, Raka and Anumati, who had four sons named Sayam, Darsha, Trataha, Purnamasa respectively. Kriya, the wife of Vidhata, gave birth to the five Purishyas, who are representative of five kinds of fire gods. Brigu, the mind-born son of Brahma, took his birth again from Charshani, the wife of Varuna, and the great sage Valmiki appeared from Varuna's semen. Agastya and Vashishta were two sons of Varuna and Mitra. Upon seeing the beauty of Urvashi, Mitra and Varuna discharged semen, which they kept in an earthen pot. From that pot, Agastya and Vashishta appeared. Mitra had a wife named Revati who gave birth to the three sons, Utsara, Arushta and Pipala. Aditi had 12 sons, of whom Indra was the 11th. Indra's wife was named Paulomi Sachidevi. She gave birth to the three sons, Jayanta, Rishava and Midusha. By his own powers, the Supreme Personality of God appeared as Vamanadev. From his wife, whose name was Kirti, appeared a son named Vrutashloka. Vrutashloka's first son was known as Saubhaga. This is a description of the son of Aditi. A description of Aditya Urukrama, who is an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will be offered in the 8th canto. The demons born of Diti are also described in this chapter. In the dynasty of Diti appeared the great saint devotee Prahlad and also Bali, Prahlad's grandson. Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha were the first sons of Diti. Hiranyakashipu and his wife, whose name was Kayadu, had four sons, Samhlada, Anuhlada, Hlada and Prahlada. They also had one daughter whose name was Simhika. In association with the demon Viprachit, Simhika bore a son named Rahu, whose head was severed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kriti, the wife of Samhlada, bore a son named Panchajana. Hlada's wife, whose name was Dhamani, gave birth to two sons, Vatapi and Ilva. Ilva put Vatapi into the form of a ram and gave him to Agastya to eat. Anulada, in the womb of his wife, Surya begot two sons named Vashkala and Mahisa. Prahlad's son was known as Virochana, and his grandson was known as Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj had 100 sons, of whom Bana was the eldest. After describing the dynasty of Adityas and other demigods, Shukadeva Goswami describes Aditi's sons known as the Maruts, and how they were elevated to the position of demigods. Just to help Indra, Lord Vishnu had killed Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Because of this, Diti was very envious, and she was eager to have a son who could kill Indra. By her service, she enchanted Kashyapa Muni in order to beg from him a greater son to do this. In corroboration in the Vedic injunction, Vidhamsham Apikashati, Kashyapa Muni was attracted to his beautiful wife and promised to grant her any request. When, however, she requested a son who would kill Indra, he condemned himself, and he advised his wife Diti to follow the Vaishnava ritualistic ceremonies to purify herself. When Diti, following the instructions of Kashyapa, engaged in devotional service, Indra could understand her purpose and he began observing all her activities. One day, Indra had the opportunity to see her deviating from devotional service. Thus he entered her womb and cut her son into 49 parts. In this way, the 49 kinds of air, known as the Maruts, appeared, but because Diti had performed the Vaishnava ritualistic ceremonies, all the sons became Vaishnavas. So this is text 1. Shri Shuka Vacha Krishna Patni Savitu Savitrim Yahritim Trayim Aniyutram Pashum Samam Chaturmasya Mahamakam. Sri Shukadev Goswami said, Prishni, who was the wife of Savita, the fifth of the 12 sons of Aditi, gave birth to the three daughters, Savitri, Vyahriti, and Traim, and the sons named Agnihotra, Pashu, Soma, Chaturmasya, and the 5 Mahayagyas. Siddhir Bhagasya Bharyanga, Mahimanam Vibhum Prabhum, Ashisham Chavararoham, Kanyam Prashuta Suratan. O king, a city who was the wife of Bhaga, the 6th son of Aditi, bore 3 sons named Mahima, Vibhu, and Prabhu, and one extremely beautiful daughter whose name was Ashi. Dhatu Kuru Sinivali Raka Chanmatistata Trayam Darshamata Prata Purnamasa Manukrama Agnin Purishan Adata Kriyayam Samanam Taraha Charshani Varuna Shrasit Yasham Jatu Brigu Punaha. Dhyata, the 7th son of Aditi, had 4 wives named Kuru, Sinivali, Raka, and Anumati. These wives begot 4 sons named Sham, Darsha, Prataha, Purnamasa, respectively. The wife of Vidhata, the 8th son of Aditi, was named Kriya. In her Vidhata begot the 5 fire gods named Purishyas. The wife of Varuna, the 9th son of Aditi, was named Charshani. Bhrigu, the son of Brahma, took birth again in her womb. Valmikishcha Mahayogi, Valmikat Abhavat Kila, Agastyascha Vashishtascha, Mitra Varunayor Rishi. By the semen of Varuna, the great mystic Valmiki took birth from an anthill. Bhrigu and Valmiki were specific sons of Varuna, whereas Agastya and Vashishta Rishis were the common sons of Varuna and Mitra, the 10th son of Aditi. Reta Shishichatu Kumbet Urvashyahasanidhau Dhutam Devataya Mitra Utsargam Karishtam Vipalam Nyatha. Upon seeing Urvashi, the celestial society girl, both Mitra and Varuna discharged semen, which they preserved in an earthen pot. The 2 sons of Agastya and Vashishta later appeared from that pot, and they are said of the common sons of Mitra and Varuna. Mitra begot 3 sons in the womb of his wife, whose name was Revati. Their names were Utsarga, Arishta, and Pipala. Purport. Modern science is trying to generate living entities in test tubes by processing semen, but even long ago it was possible for semen kept in a pot to develop into a child.
And Mahashadru, when there were purports like this, he told me that's not a purport. So he told me to take bigger purports. So I took the next slump.
I have a choice to either lecture about Krishna's incarnation, how he appears, or about semen in pots. What do you want? Semen in pots. I knew that. He immediately goes with the pots and the semen and the science and all this. Okay, let's stay with the semen and the pots. Yes, this is immediately Prabhupada takes the chance to, to discredit the modern scientists for their pride to have achieved such a thing that they can actually, produce a child without the all the way through involvement of the father. You simply extract the semen and then you do the rest somewhere outside. unfortunately I could involve the, very realistic and very realized knowledge, because actually my daughter was born this way. So I know what it is. So, that happens when the mother is not capable to handle the semen. So you can do it outside. Of course, you need still the mother, and you still need the father. And actually, you didn't create anything. You just move the process to another location. And still, as you impregnate, as you use the semen and you fertilize the egg, all you have to put it back into the mother. Therefore, the term test tube baby is a wrong one, because no test tube can produce a baby. It's not like you put things in a test tube and you shake it and then out comes the baby. So once again, the scientists are immediately deceiving in their descriptions. They described it like they produced the baby from a test tube. No, they didn't. The test tube is just a location, a means to mix the chemicals together. And above all, what none of scientists know, there is actually nobody coming. The semen and the ovum in itself are living entities. Therefore there is so much life, and this is also full of jivas. But they have nothing to do with the supreme jiva which enters that situation. So the real insemination comes by Krishna's blessing when a particular living entity is sent into this circumstance. And what happened actually there in this test tube is that you facilitate the growth of the body. But if the body is going to survive in the womb, and it's going to be really growing into a child, which is going to be born, that again depends on a superior blessing. Like, they know it, even the scientists. Like, they take the ovum from the mother, and they take the semen from the father, and they mix it. Actually, not mixing, by mixing from, there's two processes. If you want to know the detailed knowledge, I can give you all the detailed knowledge. There's two kinds of artificial insemination that you just mix it together and let them do their thing. There is the egg from the mother, and then there is the semen, and they interact. And usually the semen is going for the egg, breaks through the shell of the egg and plants itself inside, and that's where the impregnation happens. Of the body. The soul is still to enter. That's where the body is created. Because they think the person is the body, they are mistaken. The person enters, this is like in a garage. You assemble the parts, you put the car together, but then the driver is still coming. And that is a living entity which is entering the semen of the father. The semen itself is not producing anything. It's just facilitating to create the car. But then the driver is sent. And that's actually where the whole thing happens. That's called pregnancy. And therefore there is growth. It develops further because of the presence of the driver. So that's the still somewhat harmonious way to do it. You just let the egg and the semen to interact. But sometimes it doesn't work even then. Especially most men in Kali Yuga, especially now in these days, they are infertile. That means it's no semen coming. It's just liquids. It's just, water from the water tap. That's all. That used to be usually, the woman had some problem, and this nowadays is the man's problem very often. The woman can be fertile, but the men, even they have sex like crazy, they don't care for some regulations. But most of the children are born like, you could call it accidentally. So, they don't care. They can be even happy when there is an idea, yes, we want to have a child. That's probably very, very too normal. Most of the people go, oh no, I'm pregnant. Oh, what happened? Why didn't you take your pill? It's your fault. And it's a really nice way to welcome a new child. And then they go, oh, the child, I'm pregnant, oh, okay, let's kill it. That's the next step. Now there are new pills even in France, developed in France, of course. They kill the child even it's quite in a grown-up state. Usually women take these pills, which are, Prabhupada defined it also as killing, because you are killing the natural process. So they prevent, that actually the egg can get fertilized. Basically they kill the egg, they make it impossible to get fertilized. So, but when it happens, there's another pill, you can kill it after, which basically results only that there is something growing on, there's already somebody already there. That means after the momentum where the driver entered, then it's growing, then you kill the driver. So this is also pills for that. So much for Kali Yuga. And then there's a second way of artificial insemination where you actually penetrate the shell of the egg and you inject the semen. You don't, because the semen somehow it cannot enter on its own, so you penetrate the shell and then the semen can enter. So this is also artificial insemination. The result is called test tube baby. Even the preparations of it are highly artificial. The wife is turned into a chicken. There's only a certain amount of eggs women produce. But with the help of hormonal treatment, they turn the woman into a chicken and produce eggs like mad. Exceptional number. And then, they mix the whole thing on the table, the egg and the semina. If it works, then they have a number of fertilized eggs. Then comes another artificial process. You can put them in a refrigerator just in case you need them later. You can freeze the whole thing. And, and you kind of freeze the process. And then you have in a refrigerator, just in case it doesn't work first time, when you take the fertilized egg and put it back into the womb, if it doesn't work, you take another one from the fridge and try again. Or, what happened already, that during the process the father died or was killed in war or something like this. And still, there was his semen in the fridge, frozen. So the wife could still get a child from a dead man, who actually was already dead. Such cases do exist, So they put anyway, she would anyway the child from the dead man. This is all highly artificial, of course, tampered with. But here we have an example. It was already done in pots. It was already there. Actually, these processes, those days, they were actually of such a, you find in Bhagavatam lots of description of this. These women, they could get thousands of children, suddenly. Or can you imagine what the power behind the whole thing was? This was, we are speaking about, humans of such a vigor and such a power and such a stamina. You have yogis who pass stamina and burns holes into the earth, It's, you have yogis who pass stamina, put in a pot, some child, or Valmiki was born from an anthill. How does that work? You place a stamina in an anthill and out comes a sage. This is very, very beyond the imagination of any doctor, So the scientists are so proud we achieved it. Actually, Prabhupada had a very simple question. Why are they doing that? On one side, they are artificially creating children, and then on the other side, they are artificially killing children. So please, what do you want? What do you want to achieve by this? Just let it go. There will be a certain number of children born which are dead. That's the karma. That means the driver didn't actually enter. The body was created, maybe the driver was there for a little while, and then the driver exited, and out comes miscarriage. That's it. The vehicle will immediately, it stops growing when the driver is gone. And the soul left that arrangement, it's immediately stopping growing. It's called miscarriage. So this is, this is very often in Kali Yuga like this, because that's the karma of the particular living entities. To enter womb and not being born. You do not see in the daylight. That's it. So, or being killed. Because they killed in the last lifetime, they will be killed in the womb of the mother already. So this is all created by karma of individual living entities. The natural process, of course, we know what the natural process is. But I know from the Grihastha fields that there's huge problems with that. Nowadays, I know Grihasthas who were just turning almost into Babajis, chanting 60 rounds, before you conceive a child. That alone tells you something, That day you conceive a child, it has to be carefully calculated. That's a day. There's a whole science of this in India they have. You can even determine by the kind of thing how you conceive the child if it's going to be a boy or a girl. It's a whole science on this. So they have, it's all perfect, and all the brahmanas came, they have to give blessings. Everybody knows that Srimad Chakravarti and Murti Devidasa will produce a child tonight. Maybe not tonight, there's even specific times of the day, even calculate, if you want to have a proper samskara. It's a very, actually, a delicate process. Sometimes we get lost in, we are in love, and now it's a baby. That's the animal stuff. But in human form, of course, very complicated. But the only problem is that we have men and women coming from a karmic field who are no brahmachari, no brahmacharini. Most of the Madhajis joining the movement had the life of a prostitute. Prabhupada said, he said, in the West they call it girlfriend, we call it in India a prostitute. That's what coming in the door. I know Maharaji of such a ghastly background that he couldn't even mention this in a lecture here. They're professional prostitutes, drug addicts, all kinds of people, especially hippies. What do you think what you get in the door? Pure brahmacharis and brahmacharinis. It is only by Prabhupada's mercy that we could actually assume this kind of lifestyle and took this kind of shape. Otherwise, it's impossible. From that kind of background we come from, impossible. So, therefore, we should always remember that we are actually calling ourselves devotees. And we are actually acting like that, simply on the basis of Srila Prabhupada's desire. We wouldn't desire that and impose or impress Krishna with this desire, please, let this hopeless election of becoming someone devotees. We wouldn't be devotees. From our background, we have no credit whatsoever. So this is that we always remember. We didn't achieve anything. We are here simply surviving by Prabhupada's mercy. There is no empiric, there is no enough intelligence, there is no knowledge, there is no interaction, there is no background, there is nothing of it. So this process of generating children is a very sensitive one. Because it's like in a gardening, whatever seed you put in, well, that kind of plant you get out. And it all depends on the consciousness. Therefore, there is this 60 rounds chanting before you have sex life. Good luck. If you still have some strength to have sex life after chanting 60 rounds, I don't know. Probably must be very determined. To come to the standard that Krishna says, I am that sex life, which is not, which is in accordance with the religious principles. That's me. The Prabhupada was always opposing that criticism that we are against sex life. Prabhupada said, how can we be against sex life? Krishna says, I am this sex life. So we are for Krishna, we must be for that sex life. But then devotees start to investigate what kind of sex life Krishna really means. And by morning walk, when Prabhupada gave more intimate circumstances, he gave a more detailed description how to have sex for Krishna. And one brahmachari just blared out, he said, well, Prabhupada is really no use, Yeah, after hearing all the conditions he had to fulfill to have Krishna conscious sex life, his spontaneous comment was, "What's the use?" Prabhupada smiled and said, "He's a very intelligent boy." Because the whole process is meant to cool you down. Actually, there is a lecture on Ratha Yatra from Rio de Janeiro, I think, from South America. From Caracas to South America, I don't know exactly the location, but it's South America. The Prabhupada starts to give a lecture to a huge audience with amplification, you can hear it in Ratha Yatra. And then somebody is yelling in the back all the time. So Prabhupada stops and he asks, Singh Krishna Maharaj, he said, "What does this man want? What is he yelling there in the back?" And they go, "Well, Prabhupada wants to know why don't we have a sex life." And through this amplification to 1,000 people, Prabhupada gives a detailed description how to have a sex life in Krishna consciousness. I don't know why he did that, but people must have been quite impressed. At the occasion of Ratha Yatra, Prabhupada speaks through loudspeakers to 1,000 people how to have sex life in Krishna consciousness. This exists, this lecture. So Prabhupada was not afraid to comment on anything. If that's what you want to know, well, that's what we can tell you. People don't even know how to eat. People don't know how to have a sex life. They don't know how to sleep. They don't know even what to do, these very basic requirements of the body. People don't know even that. What to speak to explain to them the nature of the soul? So Prabhupada's preaching sometimes was criticized that he is always talking about sex life. He's always talking about these mundane things. Can you tell us something about Radha and Krishna? Why are you always talking about these mundane things? Indians especially, they come up with this criticism. Because they really, whole India is just drowned in sadhya. Impersonalism and sadhya, these two things. This is a challenge when you come to India to preach. So sadhya and impersonalism. Actually, it's connected. Sadhya, in one sense, is some sort of impersonalism also, because you are not addressing the real person, the impersonality of God. You act upon your own personal selfish feelings. You are not concerned about the parampara, you are not concerned about this. You act upon what you think is right to act. That's selfish. So, but Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj still said that sadhya is still containing some form of personalism, some concept is there. That by Mayavada is killing everything. There's no use to any worship, no personal relationship whatsoever. So ultimately, as we see here, Krishna consciousness is all inclusive. It's including the knowledge how to even have sex. Processing the semen, you can see nowadays, fortunately, we don't have this kind of girls walking around. Like, it was this that. Two sages just seeing the beauty of that girl. What was her name?
Urvasi.
Urvasi, I think. Yeah. They just passed semen instantly. So fortunately, we don't have such a Sunday feast guests, coming in. It would be very embarrassing, But you can imagine the power of these ladies, also these girls, the beauty and the attractive power. Nowadays, fortunately, the females become so disgusting that, that if you are a little bit raising yourself about the mode of ignorance and passion,